On this edition of Backroads, we stop by a business that keeps everybody moving in Coffee Creek.
Yeah, whatever it takes, we'll get the thing going.
Listen to some of Montana's oldest music makers. Visit a site with deep roots across the West. And meet a young couple with award-winning taste.
We'll probably have something good here. Let's just put it to the test.
This edition of Backroads has a lot of flair.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, encouraging communication on issues, trends, and values of importance to Montanans. The Montana Office of Tourism at visitmt.com, and the University of Montana.
Home is where Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home.
Hi, I'm William Marcus. We have another great show for you today. Backroads travels Montana looking for people and places we think you'd like to know about. Our location today is the fabled mining city of Butte. We've dug our share of stories out of Butte's history, but we couldn't resist coming back for one more. It's the story of that shining statue that stands 3,500 feet above Butte on the east ridge of the Continental Divide. It looks tiny from here, but we'll travel up there during today's show for a close-up look at Our Lady and her history, and a spectacular view of one of America's most famous cities. Our first story is in the small Montana town of Coffee Creek. Names on the Face of Montana says that Coffee Creek was named for a creek whose water had a dark coffee brown color.
No, it's when a sheep herder come through here years ago. He made some coffee out of the creek, and of course it's alkaline, and he did not like the taste of it, and he said, blah, and he poured it back into the creek and he said, I christen you Coffee Creek.
One thing is certain, the water runs clear and sweet down the road at Nemec's Parts and Repair. Except for the post office, Nemec's is the only business in Coffee Creek.
I don't think of me just being the only business in town. I just don't, we are, but I don't think of it that way.
Owner Lon Nemec doesn't have time to think about his unique situation. They're already stacked up 6 deep out front. Nemec's is the only complete automotive repair shop for 50 miles in any direction. For farmers and ranchers suffering a mechanical breakdown, Nemec's can be a lifesaver.
Farm equipment, tractors, combines, trucks, cars, pickups, snowmobiles, motorcycles, pretty much everything. We don't do body work, and we don't do painting. We pretty much do everything else.
Let me take care of you. Okay. I need a...
Repairs are quick thanks to a huge inventory of spare parts. And what can't be found on the shelf can usually be made by machinist Richard Cups.
We don't turn something loose that's not taken care of. We find the problem and fix it.
Right now, Darren is fixing a spark plug coil. Lon's son, Lance, is breaking apart a tire, and Colin is tracking down an electrical problem with a sprayer. For no apparent reason, when the truck reaches a certain speed, numerous alarms sound in the cab.
They're very annoying.
With 8 employees, Nemec's is not just the only business in town. It hires about a quarter of the population. Even Lon's wife, Patty, helps out when she's not delivering fuel for the Farmers Union.
Yeah, not too many women are fighting to get my job, probably.
Back at the shop, most folks are moving again, while fresh problems roll up to the door. Everyone agrees they'd be lost without this repair service.
Appreciate it very much.
You bet.
Glad to get her done. Now we can haul some grain with it.
Now you can do it, yep.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see you.
Lon's father, Henry, started the business back in 1955, working out of a Quonset hut at the other end of town. As a kid, watching his father, Lon knew that he too wanted to work on engines. As a teen, he was a self-described motor nut, tooling around in a Boss 302 Mustang. His after-school hobby was souping up this F-100 pickup by adding an extra 68 cubic inches under its hood. Lon has a dozen more automotive treasures scattered about.
I'm gonna hold on to that one for a while. I'm not selling that one, no. No, you wouldn't want to buy this thing. It's rough. We use it to push stuff around with and jumpstart stuff.
Perhaps the most tantalizing is tucked away in a nondescript shed. It's a 1927 Ford Model T. Lon's Uncle Charlie bought the Ford to court a young Coffee Creek school teacher. When she suddenly left town, Charlie was crushed. He parked the Ford and insisted that it never be driven again. His wishes were honored, and the sedan was literally mothballed with only a few hundred miles on it.
This has been in the family too long to ever give up.
Looking at it, a person needs to be reminded that this is not a restored vehicle. It's original. The paint, the tires, the upholstery, even the leather fan belt, all looking just as good as when they rolled off the assembly line 85 years ago.
That's how easy the door shut on the car. You'll have to try it yourself.
Incidentally, Uncle Charlie remained a bachelor all his life. It's obvious that Lon is hard-pressed to part with any of these vehicles, but there's only one he considers priceless.
This is a 1971 Ford Ranchero GT, and it's got a 351 Cleveland with a 4-barrel in it.
The Ranchero belongs to Lon's son, Lance.
It's my baby and always will be.
The black coupe is rare, fully restored, and loaded with options. But its real value is in what it means to both father and son. Athletic and at 6'8", Lance played just about every sport in high school. Lon was just as active at his repair shop. What they needed was a project they could work on together. Years earlier, they put together this high-performance go-kart. But the Ranchero project was designed to be more challenging and time-consuming, taking the better part of 2 years.
It was going to be a learning project for him. We did motor transmission, all the drivetrain, all the brakes, all the steering, suspension, paint, body, interior, wiring, everything.
The most rewarding part was the time that I got to spend with my dad and figuring out how to do stuff, and also the learning process and the stuff that he taught me. You know, it's priceless information, and it's information that I'll hold with me forever.
From her perspective, wife and mother Patty saw both men benefit from the experience.
It was fun, just watching the two of them, and a very bonding thing with him and his dad. They can talk mechanics now.
You drive down to Denton and have a bite to eat?
Yeah, sounds good.
This fall, Lance heads off to college to pursue a career in radiology. Lon and Patty have always encouraged Lance to see more of the world. They've also made an offer that someday, should he desire, Lance can always return to Coffee Creek and help run the family business. Especially since it's the only business in town. Lon is always willing to make house calls to help out a neighbor who has a broken down tractor or a combine or a stalled vehicle. You wouldn't want your rig to break down on this back road. We're on our way up to Our Lady of the Rockies statue. The steep private access crosses the Continental Divide 7 times. You can't drive here on your own, but in summer daily bus tours make the trip. Volunteers blaze this trail with heavy equipment and lots of determination, moving through and around boulders with skills they learned as miners. The stories of their slow but steady progress was music to the ears of those who watched Our Lady of the Rockies take shape. Well, we're here. We'll get back to the story of Our Lady of the Rockies in just a few minutes, but we need to move on to our next story, which has real music in it. And many of the instruments that you'll see and hear in this story come from the city below us. Today, they entertain crowds that visit Nevada City. We were lucky to have piano technician extraordinaire Mike Edwards as our guide, and luckier still when Mike supplied all the quarters.
In the musical collection world, there's a lot of people that know of this collection. In the last couple years, they're very pleased with what we've been doing. because we have fixed a lot of the instruments. We've got a lot of them running that haven't run 5-6 years ago. Today we're fixing a Mills violino. It actually plays the piano and violin. It has little metal fingers that push the strings up instead of pushing the strings down like a normal violin. They called it the seventh wonder of the world, and sometimes it's a wonder how it works. This is a Seaberg KT made in the early 1920s. It plays piano, xylophones, tambourines, triangle, and the little castanets. It's a beautiful, beautiful machine. This is an 1890s Molinari barrel piano. It was actually what the street vendors would push around in the streets. And what happens is wooden barrel turns, and every time there's a little nail here, it actually plays the note of the piano. So. Most of the instruments in this room are actually from the Montanas. They're from Butte or Helena, and these were the, the interest getters that people would, they would want to go in because this is a unique instrument. A lot of these they would have in penny arcades and stuff, and it was the grabbers that people would hear the music, and they want to see it, they want to hear it. The kids love this because I can teach them in 30 seconds how to play the piano, and they don't have to take lessons. Most of the tourists, they're fascinating watching all the instruments play. I'm usually sitting there almost cringing, saying, I wish that note would work today. The little kids like this one because it's loud and obnoxious. This is the Wurlitzer player harp. There was only 1,000 of these made. There's probably less than 500 still known in existence. Well, the uniqueness of this collection is it's the opportunity for myself to work on a couple instruments that there's only 3 or 4 left in the world. So the opportunity to actually see one, let alone work on them, is quite unique. And there's a lot of work to be done. It's my retirement plan. I'll be here for the rest of my life because there's always going to be work to do.
Mike's work maintaining and repairing these magnificent machines is supported by the Montana History Foundation. Their work is to fund projects that protect the future of Montana's past. Here is part of Montana's present, Our Lady of the Rockies, a project that literally grew out of a prayer. In 1979, Butte resident Bob O'Bill's wife, Joyce, was suffering from cancer. Bob vowed that if she recovered, he would build a 5-foot statue of Mary and place it on the hill. Joyce did recover, and Bob's idea suddenly took on a whole new dimension. It became a reflection of the spirit of Butte. In 1982, the Asarco Company closed the Berkeley pit, and a year later ceased all mining operations in Butte. Out of work, but clinging to the hope that has always ruled the city, volunteers turned to the task of putting a much larger statue on the hill above town. Among the volunteers is Leroy Lee, who led the welding crew that assembled the statue. He now serves on the board that oversees the statue's upkeep.
Well, the Lady of the Rockies touches a lot of people, and when they come and see her, they just want to be part of it, and putting a memorial of their loved ones up here do that.
Our Lady of the Rockies is the second tallest statue in the United States, and at just a few feet shorter than the Statue of Liberty, is nearly as iconic to travelers in the West. Many travelers in western Montana have probably driven right by the site of our next story many times. It's a location that mixes Montana history with a long-standing connection to the land. A quick stop shows that this place has deep roots in the area. There are towering reminders above everyone gathered at this reunion. It's a connection between the people and the trees that surround them.
I was one of them that crawled around in the treetops to do weeding and things.
For Ada Messenbrink, the reunion means a chance to tell stories about a job she started in the 1950s.
And they do a lot of this in the fall and put them in cold storage.
Ada is one of the few remaining employees from the Savenac Tree Nursery. The facility stopped full-time production in 1969, but it has a legacy that lives on. Ehlers Koch started the tree nursery in 1907, and it was literally wiped out as soon as it began. The historic Big Burn of 1910 devastated the area and the facility, but it also created the need to reforest the 3 million acres scorched by fire. They started over, and Savenac employees planted and nurtured young trees to be transplanted to nearby forests. They became pioneers in research and development during the 1920s, and it was during the next decade that a turning point arrived. In 1935, during the Great Depression, the Civilian Conservation Corps opened a camp, and everything changed.
Then they had a large labor pool where they could expand the plantation beds and really get into full nursery production because of all the labor that they had. And it was during their time that Savenac reached its peak production and became the largest Forest Service nursery in the United States.
Savenac doubled in size, and even with the CCC, they needed more workers. It created a rare opportunity for Ada Messenbrink, a good-paying job for a woman in the 1950s.
That was about the only work there was for women in this area at that point, and it was a lot of fun. They would take anybody that was willing to get down on their hands and knees and weed seed beds.
The nursery's production slowly declined before its duties were transferred to Coeur d'Alene in 1969. For the next 2 decades, the place fell into disrepair before dedicated volunteers returned a portion of the grounds to their former glory.
The volunteers have done an awful lot of work and built a lot of the hiking trails and put in the monuments and memorials, and so we're proud of them.
The self-guided walking tour shows visitors more of the volunteer work while giving a sense of the site's history.
Hey, how are you? Very good.
The volunteers gather each summer for a reunion, linked by a passion for the place. For former employees like Ada, it's an opportunity to relive special memories. Ada's oldest daughter, Hazel, grew up playing on the grounds.
You never know who you're going to get to see, and it's a fun time to just come and listen to the stories, or the rest of the story. The fact that some 61 years later, I can come back and enjoy with my mother, it makes it even more special.
The Savenac Tree Nursery finally gained status as a National Historic Site in 2000. If you're interested in stopping by, remember the Visitor Center is open only seasonally, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, from 10 to 6. Visitors to Our Lady of the Rockies can spend time at this chapel observatory nearby. There they'll find a plaque-covered wall honoring more than 13,000 women from around the world, memorialized by their families and friends. Those involved are careful to note that Our Lady of the Rockies is a non-denominational symbol of motherhood for people of all religions, not just Catholics, to enjoy. Oddly enough, our final story has roots in the home of the Catholic Church, Rome. A Mediterranean restaurant called When in Rome in Bigfork has put Montana pizza on the national stage. Its owners created a unique pizza that took second place in the Western Division of the International Pizza Challenge earlier this year. It's called the best pizza ever. Whatever the name, this story will make you hungry.
And it has garlic, gorgonzola cheese, red onions, roasted red peppers, and pepperoni. No sauce. And it was named by our guests. They kept telling us it was the best pizza ever, and so we just went with that because we didn't have much else that we could have named it. Best pizza ever.
Welcome to When in Rome, a Bigfork restaurant that's home to the award-winning Best Pizza Ever. The husband and wife team of Angel Vrappi and Kaylee Brooke created the pizza by mistake.
And then one night happened that we burned it. We overcooked it. It wasn't totally burned, and then we put it in the back and we made another one right away. The servers always are back there eating and munching on it. So, and they came to me and told me, "Come check out this pizza. This is the best pizza I've ever had."
That was a complete accident, but it did turn out to be a really great pizza. So.
And you can still work with it when you put it on the pizza peel. So
Angel and Kaylee opened when in Rome in 2010. Less than a year later, they decided to try their luck in the International Pizza Challenge in Las Vegas.
We just thought it'd be really fun to compete. We didn't really know what to expect.
We're very competitive, both of us, so we just want to do better, you know. We'll probably have something good here. Let's just put it to the test. That was our thing, to see what other people are doing.
All right.
The couple seems to be doing just fine. With an award-winning pizza and a lot of long days, they say that their business in Bigfork is booming. And it's more than just with pizza.
Opa!
They've filled out a full Mediterranean menu with appetizers, pasta dishes, desserts, and a wine selection. They also feature a lunch menu of pizza, paninis, and salads.
We didn't even know how it was going to go. We were just, because the failure rate in the first year for restaurants is really high. You know, we were like, well, hopefully we're not one of those statistics. And we just went at it, and we work really hard. I mean, we're here 15 hours a day, 7 days a week.
40-pound block.
The couple starts early each day by shredding cheese.
So this is a Wisconsin sharp cheddar and whole milk, low moisture mozzarella cheese.
Slicing vegetables, and making the dough.
We make everything ourselves, so the prep time is it's quite a lot for us, because it takes me an hour to make tiramisu, and I make it 3 times a week, you know, and we make dough every single day.
You see the air pulse in here? It means like it started proofing already.
And we just don't cut any corners for anything. Thank you for calling when I know.
Before long, phone orders start coming in.
Hi, how you doing? Are we looking for pizzas to go or dining here?
And folks arrive for an evening of fine dining.
Michael, yes.
The couple says the extra effort helps make the business a success.
I sort of feel like our whole life has been just a twist of fate, you know, like since we met each other.
Kaylee grew up on a farm near Judith Gap. After college in Vermont, she headed to Rome to continue her studies while working as a tour guide at the Vatican. Angel grew up in Albania. With his country in economic and political turmoil, he left school after the 8th grade and moved to Greece for a while, before settling in Rome. He was working at a restaurant when he met a customer from the United States.
Kind of a classic cliche story, American girl, Italian waiter, but I guess it's actually how it works sometimes. He gave me his phone number, like they all do, and I actually called him back, so.
We're just hanging out pretty much every day, calling one another, texting and stuff like that. So, but it happens so fast, then we're just, you know, seems like we're meant for one another. You know?
Kaylee and Angel were married and welcomed a daughter. Even with 2 incomes, the family had a hard time making ends meet in Rome. So they moved back to the United States. They spent time in Montana and Chicago, working in restaurants. Then Angel enrolled at the New England Culinary Institute. After graduating, the couple came to Bigfork, where they hoped to start their own business.
And then finally, we saw this on Craigslist of all things, and we were like, wow, we've
know
been there.
that
We know that place. And we had actually lots of good friends in Bigfork, and we were like, wow.
And they're going to support us, so that gave us a little bit of warm shoulders to just come back here.
In a family-owned business, Angel and Kaylee say working so closely together for such long hours can sometimes be stressful.
We always elbow each other as we turn around, and he burned me with a pan last week, and you know, and like, you did that on purpose.
Things do get, things do get hot.
It's really hard, but at the same time, how often do you get to spend all day with your spouse? I mean, not very many jobs allow you to do that, and we get to have our kids here all day, which is even better.
6-year-old Fiona plays games today, but her parents say that she sometimes takes a more active role in the business.
Just started kindergarten, and she is a connoisseur of food and wine.
She goes to the tables, asks people, like, how is your wine? Would you like another glass? And they love that. That's what people come here. They say, then this is what you guys are, what this restaurant is about, you know.
They even converted their office into a playroom for Fiona and one-year-old Hugo, their latest addition, to play and watch movies during busy serving times.
And being able to have the kids be here and see how hard we work and how much we've attained with all our hard work. And it's important that they know how important it is to work hard at what you do and to do it the best you can do.
This young family says things are good for now, and they're looking forward to a bright future.
I want to spend so much more time learning about wine, and Angel wants to spend so much more time becoming a better chef, and we're just really beginning.
We have a passion about food, she has a passion about wine, so just going as far as we can possibly get.
Also in the future, a return to the next pizza competition, and they know what they want.
Well, we want to win. So we just have this idea. It's all up here that we haven't put anything into action so far, and we'll probably change our mind 65 times before we actually go to the competition. That's what we're looking for, the perfect pizza.
When in Rome was named the best pizza place in Montana by Food Network magazine. The restaurant is making a name for its wine selection as well. Kaylee Brooks serves up some great Italian wines and is studying to be a master sommelier, delving ever deeper into the culture of food and wine. Our Lady of the Rockies taps a rich vein of cultural and spiritual tradition in Butte. It's a shining beacon for this city that has picked itself up and moved forward so many times. And this tribute to women and mothers is a nice counterpoint to the well-told history of the men who toiled for generations in Butte's mines. Thanks for watching us today. We'd like to thank Leroy Lee for getting us to the top of the mountain just as the winter snows were settling in. You can take the tour bus to the statue in the summertime through early October. Tours leave daily from the Our Lady of the Rockies gift shop in the Butte Plaza Mall. And we'd like to hear from you. Send your story ideas to the Backroads of Montana, the University of Montana, Missoula, Montana 59812. And remember, you can watch any of our shows online or pick up a copy at your local city-county library. As long as you keep watching, we'll keep covering the Backroads of Montana. I'm William Marcus. See you next time.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, encouraging communication on issues, trends, and values of importance to Montanans. The Montana Office of Tourism at visitmt.com, and the University of Montana.
From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home. Coming in off the road now, boys, you know I'm heading home.